The first sign that you need a new job is that you clicked on this video. Let's be honest. You're here for a reason. Now, if you don't believe me, stick around and listen to the other 5 signs that you need a new job. I guarantee if you're here watching this video, you'll relate to at least one of these. And that's right, we're still going to cover 5 more signs that you need a new job. So you can consider that first one a bonus sign, because I care about you, but not in a creepy kind of way, just a good kind of way. Understanding when it's time to move on may be the most important thing you can do, both to advance your career and to take care of yourself, so you owe it to yourself to learn the warning signs. The actual first sign that you need a new job is a lack of growth opportunities. Okay, I want you to do one thing for me. Raise your hand if you've had a conversation with your boss about a promotion that never ended up happening. Am I the only one? Did you raise your hand? It's hard for me to tell because this is a recording. It's not a live interaction. But if you did raise your hand, thank you. Thank you for going along with it. But the point is, if you've reached your ceiling at your current company, it's time to move on. According to a survey by Pew Research, low pay and lack of growth opportunities are the top reasons why Americans leave their jobs. If you continue to see roadblocks or barriers put in your way, instead of having conversations about advancement or growth, it might be time to look elsewhere. There was a study released several years ago that showed people who stay in their jobs longer than just 2 years are paid about 50% less than those who jump around. The moral of the story is that you get paid more if you switch companies. By sticking it out or being patient, both of the things that are really admired, you're actually costing yourself thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Do yourself a favor and switch jobs. The next sign that you need a new job is that you work in a high-stress or toxic work environment. I like to think about assessing work culture like tasting wine. Have you ever been to a wine tasting where you sit down with your friends and the host greets you, you start drinking a glass of wine, and then he or she asks you to describe what you're tasting? And instantly it feels like you're in the hot seat for some game show where you're struggling to really find words to describe what you're tasting. It may be hard to describe, but you know if you like it or not. Work culture is the exact same way. It may be hard to really describe or put words to it, but you know it's bad when it's bad. And if you need help describing or assessing your work culture, Inc.com has shared a list of characteristics for a toxic work culture. In this list, they include a constant focus on doing things wrong, a lack of appreciation or recognition for the work that people do, a bureaucracy that has too many layers to move forward, leaders who focus on control or micromanagement, little concern for happiness or well-being of employees, or the expectation that people sacrifice their personal lives for the job with very little downtime. Do any of these sound like the work environment that you're currently in? If so, it's a sign that you need a new job. It can be really tempting to try and fix a work culture. Maybe you're so bought into the company and what they do that you feel like you owe it to them to try and improve the work culture. But unless you're in a leadership role, and even if you are, it takes a lot of time and effort to improve a work culture. The odds are that you're better off finding a new job. The next sign that you need a new job is having a bad boss. Did you know that the #1 cause of unhappiness at work is the result of having a bad boss? If you find that you're uncertain whether you have a bad boss, start by reflecting on how often you complain or are frustrated about your boss. You get off work and complain to your friends or family about what they did during the day? If so, it's probably a sign that you have a bad boss and that you need a new job. And if you do have a bad boss, it can be really tempting, just like in a toxic work culture, to try and fix it. You have to realize that these things take time. People don't change overnight, and your work environment is not going to change. It might be time that you find a new job. And it might be time for you to hit that like button. You see what I did there? If you're receiving value from this video, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel. Both of those things go a long way to helping us reach more people. The next sign that you need a new job is having a long commute. Did you know the average American spends 11 full days commuting to and from work? 11 full days. We're not talking about extremes from one end to the other, but averages. The average American spends 11 full days commuting to and from work. I just can't wrap my head around it. It is that insane to me that we just accept spending so much time of our lives commuting to and from work. At one point in my career, I had a commute of about 45 minutes to and from work. Each way, 45 minutes. And so I was spending about 6 hours at minimum driving to and from work. And I felt like I was wasting so much time of my life just sitting in the car. And then when you hit traffic, it's just so frustrating. And I'll be the first to admit, I had a little bit of road rage, nothing extreme, but it's just so frustrating when you want to get home and you're just stuck in traffic. Deep breaths, deep breaths. So I am way off track here, but the point is, if you have a long commute, it can be miserable, and it can be a sign that you need a new job. The last sign, and probably the easiest sign to recognize, is that you're working long hours. Did you know the standard work week in the US is 40 hours per week? It's actually been the standard for about 80 years now. And yet so many of us work well beyond 40 hours. And if you're salaried, you're not getting paid for that overtime. Did you know the average American works somewhere between 44 and 47 hours? That means on average, we're each spending 4 to 7 hours a week not getting paid. I've even been in some social circles where working 50, 60, even 70 hours is a badge of honor. When did we get to the point that it was worth bragging about that you spent 10, 20, 30 hours extra a week not getting paid for your time? No, like I really want to know, do you know where this idea comes from? If you do, drop it in the comments below. I genuinely want to know where this idea, like I don't know if it's hustle culture or something else, but we have to get past this idea that working long hours is a good thing. You need balance in your life, and if you're pushing yourself or you're working for a place where it's demanding long hours, it's a sign that you need a new job. Do yourself a favor and start valuing your time. So now that you know the 5 signs that you need a new job, well, 6, because I did give you that sign at the beginning of the video. But now that you know the signs, it's important for you to start screening your next employer. Asking the right questions at the right time in an interview process is absolutely essential and can help you avoid all of this mess altogether. That's why we created this video on how to interview your next employer. So give it a watch if you want to improve your odds of finding a better job. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the journey.